appalled.
Shocked, we tell you. So, Romeo and Juliet, the 1968 Romeo and Juliet, starring Leonard Whiting and Olivia, is it Hussey? Would it be Hussey or Hussey? It looks like Hussey.
I don't know.
It starred these two actors. He was 16, she was 15. He was a boy and she was a girl. No.
Can I make it any
Okay,
more
so
obvious?
he was 16, she was 15 in Romeo and Juliet, and they are suing Paramount Global because they were naked while making this movie for a scene, and they're suing them for exploitation, fraud, and then distributing images of a minor in the nude.
What confuses me most about this story actually is the fact that this was in 1960s America,
Yes.
what is so often portrayed as a very stodgy, sexually repressed era of our culture.
No.
At least
Summer
it was
of Love, like the actual
sure,
Summer
but
of
that's
Love.
the reason that happened was to push back on the dominant culture,
Yes,
which
it would have been-
did
that would have been the
prevail
subculture at
throughout
the
the
time.
60s and the 70s and forward. This was definitely not in the era of like anything goes that we're in now. So I'm just surprised that they would even portray this in a film with young people or anybody, when at the time there were decency laws, or even not too long before this was made, decency laws legislating that even married couples cannot be portrayed sleeping in the same bed as one another. So that's what shocked me.
The actors are now in their 70s, and they say they have suffered mental anguish and emotional distress in the 5 decades since the film's release and have lost out on job opportunities. According to the lawsuit, Paramount owed a duty to protect their minor children employees from child and sexual exploitation. They're right.
This definitely wouldn't fly today.
No, it would not. They're seeking damages to believed to be in the excess of $500 million. I will say that one of the pushbacks on this is that Olivia, the woman, said in an interview in 2018 that people were making a big deal about nothing and that it was tastefully done.
People's opinions on things change over time. So, we have no idea.
I think something has changed here, and that's
there
that
shouldn't have been a nude scene with legal children. But at the same time, why are you waiting till now to sue? And how do you get out? How do you get that number?
Yeah,
like you guys were paid as actors, so where does that $500 million in damages? How do you even come up with that number?
It's their lawyer's job to like come up with how much money they lost in their careers. Because of
and
this.
even 4 years ago, she's like, it was good. I liked it. It wasn't a big deal. Which
the culture of victimhood has changed, but that doesn't make the act right.
I mean, I just don't know.
It should have never been done in the first place.
Exactly.
What is the audience supposed to think of this when the law is literally that for every frame of I don't want to say it out loud because of YouTube reasons, but like CP videos can give you like a decade in prison. So that this is just on a mainstream
it's also
platform.
Fascinating with the parallels we're seeing in states like California who are like defending predators now. And it's just go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's weird. Yeah. It's like, yes, you're right. There's this time where everyone's a victim, but at the same time, somehow predators are victims as well.
So Romeo and Juliet director Franco Zeffirelli assured them there would be no nudity in the movie and that they would instead wear flesh-colored undergarments to shoot an intimate scene between the star-crossed lovers. It's funny because there was just a thing the other day about Emilia Clarke talking about how she was on set in Game of Thrones with Jason Momoa. And how like there was like she was like he would have to like tell them to get me a blanket because I was shivering, or he's like get her a coat. Like he was apparently very, very professional, whatever. I think it was Emilia Clarke. Like it was his like he'd already done a lot of acting before, so he was able to like push back and make sure that she was treated with dignity and respect. The winner was the intimacy coordinator. I ask you back in the 60s. So however, in the final days of filming, the director allegedly encouraged them to film the bedroom scene nude with body makeup or the movie would fail. Now, if you're an adult, if you're a middle-aged adult who is an established director and you're telling this to two 15 and 16-year-old children, they probably felt pressured to do so.
Right. And I think that this is an ongoing problem in Hollywood to this day. They just got better at hiding it, possibly.
Yep.
It's especially a red flag that this was in the last days of filming. Like, you're down to the wire. You want to be done with this already. And now he's saying that it could be career ruining to not do this scene, when in reality, they're saying it was the opposite effect.
Yep. It says he misrepresented where the camera would be and filmed them naked without their knowledge. The finished film included images of her breasts, his buttocks. This is the other part. This is peak Hollywood, guys. So I was looking this up. She was not allowed to attend the premiere of this movie because it had nudity in it. It was nudity of her.
That's pretty insane. Bad. That's pretty absurd.
Has this movie been pulled since then? Or is this still
I don't think it's
I did not see it on Paramount. I looked. I didn't see it. I might have missed it, but I didn't see it on.
I mean, obviously,
because that's kind of ridiculous that there's still
CP
floating around from a major Hollywood picture. That's kind of crazy to me.
So
but like these abuses in Hollywood have existed since the dawn of Hollywood. It's always worse than it appears.
So it says that she defended the nude scene in past interviews. In 2018, she told Fox News that it was done very tastefully and wasn't that big of a deal.
Here's the thing, though. I don't care if these two have possibly selfish, money-grubbing reasons for starting this lawsuit. I really don't. Whether they objectively believe that this was wrong or not, it was wrong.
Yeah, it was wrong to do. It should have never been done. But, like, do I believe that they were, like, emotionally distressed over it?
Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. Or maybe their feelings changed over time because they realized the context. But, also, and that happens all the time. But, like, if their self-interest is making money off of this lawsuit or, you know, making up for losses in their career, I really don't think of that as so wrong. Like, why would they come out only now? People's feelings change about things
because they're
over
old.
time.
Because they're old and they want to leave money for their kids.
Like, what's wrong with that? You know.
Look, I believe that most people would agree. Would say that. Look, if they actually they don't like the idea of them doing it because of the money. They're saying like if they actually felt mental anguish, they would have felt it before. Doesn't it throw water on the claim of mental anguish that she literally said as recently as 2018 that it wasn't a big deal? Mm-hmm. Is it? We know it's a big deal. No one here is saying that it's not a big deal. We're saying, does it not disprove her claim?
Is there a statute what's the lawsuit? I feel like is there a statute of limitations on it?
So it says the attorney for the two told Variety nude images of minors are unlawful and shouldn't be exhibited. They were very young, naive children in the 60s and had no understanding of what was about to hit them. All of a sudden, they were famous at a level that was never expected, and in addition, they were violated in a way that they didn't know how to deal with. That doesn't seem very accurate to what they're saying about how it damaged their careers. But they talk about how up here where they talk about the lawsuit was filed under a California law that temporarily suspended the statute of limitations for claims against child abuse.
Okay.
Against child sexual abuse.
They have evidence sitting with them that they were denied jobs. You know, like you can't.
They would have
put
to prove
this case
that.
forward.
That's hard to prove. Like someone had to outright say, "We're not hiring you because you were naked."
The other idea here is like they just make the claim and they're hoping that Paramount will settle out of court for
this is an interesting commentary on like the way that Hollywood has slowly actually prioritized nudity and sexuality in mainstream film and television to the point where if you're not willing to do these things or certain scenes on camera, you're going to get blacklisted just the same.
Yep.
Like they started this decades and decades ago, but we only see the effects starting in like the 2010s because we're just catching up to the incremental change that's happened. It's very underhanded.
It's still going on, and like it's like the series The Boys. I love it, but dude, I want to watch that for the action and the superheroes, not all the sex scenes.
Right.
I don't care about.
It's getting ridiculous.
Every time I see it, it's too many times. Like one time is too many in my opinion. That is something that is one thing that will stop me from continuing a show. I just don't want to see that. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people want to watch these shows with their friends or their family members without feeling awkward about it.
Well, it's not just that. Not that difficult. It's like it's this Game of Thrones. It's like you can allude to the fact that these two characters are romantic.
Yeah.
And are involved with each other without having a 5 to 10 minute scene about it.
You cut to right after they're done.
Right.
And then they do the awkward flop onto either side of the bed.
Yeah, you got them. You get the kiss. You get the shot of them kissing, and then you pan out to the window, and then scene transition.
Yeah.
And you're good. It's like 30 seconds. You know that's a couple now. it's filler. It's time
There's
filler.
there's nothing being conveyed by excessive sexuality.
It just doesn't interest me. Like, I just feel like there's so much more interesting. Like, you can, like, if anything, if the actors and the writers are doing their jobs, that emotional connection is displayed in other ways.
Yeah.
And that frees up space for other scenes that would be more applicable to everyone.
Now, if it's a romance movie, I'm more lenient on like kind of my stance on it, because the whole movie is romance. But if it's just a show like Game of Thrones, The Boys,
somebody should have like gone to like all of the 50 Shades of Grey movies and said there was too much sex.
right, that's a good example.
But
yeah.
ironically, from what I heard, 50 Shades was relatively tame
For what
because
the book
they
was.
knew that the target audience was like older women, and they didn't care to see excessive nudity. What they wanted was kind of a recreation of like erotica novels, which even the novels are more graphic than what they showed in the movie.
Well, and isn't it kind of proven that men are visual, women are literary, in the sense that women love men love visual porn, women love literary porn.
But then again, when you're going to a mainstream film or TV show, that is not the primary thing you're looking for. The primary thing that you want out of that is a story. Yep. And it detracts, or at the very least doesn't contribute anything to the story to include that. And again, like, this is taking away from the tradition that watching TV used to be a communal and family activity, and now it is something that you have to do on your own, otherwise you feel super awkward about it.
Yeah.
Like, no one is going to watch a highly sexual show with their family. It's really awkward.
Let's go back to just the main topic. So you have no problem with them suing, even if you don't believe that they actually... I don't buy that their emotions changed suddenly 5 years later.
What does it matter what their emotions are?
I think they need money.
What matters is what happened.
Well, that's what I was wondering about the statute of limitations, because... Right, we all agree it was wrong, but at the time in 1968, right, it was a Shakespeare movie. Like, maybe it was more generally accepted. Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't alive back then. I really couldn't tell you. Yeah. I don't know if Hollywood was a lot less promiscuous back in the 60s. So maybe but if it were, maybe they have something to stand on, you know?
Well,
so
how I felt
tough.
about
it was
the
so
Demi
long
Moore
ago.
thing that we were just talking about was like, I'm sorry, who cares what the 15-year-old in that video, who is now what age? Like in his 50s?
50s now.
Who cares what he thinks about it then, in between, or present day? We're talking about the actual content of what was in the video. And is that okay?
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Well, in this context, because we're not talking about them being prosecuted by the state, we're talking about them being sued by a person. So it's not the same thing as it's not the same thing as them being prosecuted or fined by the government for a crime committed in general. It's by people for a specific cause and the amount that they get to comes from an idea like emotional distress, and then people will push back on the claim, like, how emotionally in distress were you in 2018 when you said it was fine? I don't have an opinion one way or other on that. I believe that it was wrong to do it, and they should be flicked on the nose and told, like, look, you can't do this stuff anymore. And I think we understand that now. Like,
we need precedent. We need like actual legislation on this, in my opinion.
I mean, I don't know what
because they'll keep pushing the boundaries.
I don't think they will push the boundaries
with the excuse that intimacy coordinators prevent this type of thing, when in reality,
not the age
these people are glorified HR reps. We know even from House of the Dragon that they wrote sexual scenes for a 17-year-old to film days after she turned 18. That is wild to me that this is legally allowed. We need legislation on this.
No, see, I disagree that we need legislation. I don't always think the law is the answer. But as a society, we need to be like, yo, this is effed up. Right?
Yeah, Hollywood exists outside of societal norms.
A nude scene for a teenager who's not even 18 yet.
It doesn't matter.
You're a weirdo and you're a creep, and we as a society need to say,
and she said this in an interview like it was okay, because she hasn't been told anything other than that. Her parents clearly aren't looking out for her or any other children in this industry.
This is the side effects of this like sexual revolution that's going on right now, you know, and it's like, this stuff is going to happen.
Between this and that Paramount lawsuit involving Top Gun Maverick, they're going to be out some money this year, guys.
Oh, they're going to settle. I think they settled this because this is such a crazy thing. Like, you still have a movie out there floating around that people can go and watch that has CP in it. Like, they're going to
big liability.
Either they pull it, or I don't know what.
I didn't see the movie on Paramount Plus, so I didn't. I looked like to see if it was on there. I didn't see it on Paramount Plus.
It's sort of like how Disney Plus is trying to do like a mass exodus of any content from old Disney that can be considered offensive, like the movie that Splash Mountain was based on, Song of the South, that is considered racist by some, benign by others. They're trying to escape any controversy whatsoever.
So the comments are really funny. It says some lawyer must have been streaming the movie late at night and saw an opportunity. Somebody says, so where are the parents? Are they suing them? Probably not, to mention they agreed to do it at all. Like the parents, like where were the parents?
Are the parents even alive?
No, I guarantee the parents are not alive. Like why did the mom and dad allow this to happen? Right? Like,
because, thank you.
Woo! Yes.
It's a very obvious thing. The parents of child actors do not protect them. We've seen this time and time again.
Very rarely.
We were just talking about Bella Thorne. Like, it's very rare that the parents of child stars do anything to protect them from nefarious actors in this industry. That's why I'm saying possibly legislation could be the solution. That's the only reason I'm saying that.
Down at the government.
Well,
sorry, I have to.
I mean, I'm just saying it's a meme that libertarians are pro PDF for a reason.
These actors shouldn't have to file a lawsuit. Like, our state prosecutors should have done this a while ago. As soon as someone heard, like, oh shoot, there's a major movie with those scenes in it. No, we got to take action on this.
Yeah, maybe the parents are the ones who should also be prosecuted for allowing their kid to do this.
Yeah.
Well, they're dead.
Well, I'm saying if they were still alive, we would prosecute the children.
That's the problem with starting a lawsuit in 2023 when the crime happened in 68. You're going to have all this confusion.
So someone said statist, Mary. Let's go.
Statist?
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.